Hey, it's Joe Glines from the-automator, and this is another episode of what we automated this week with AutoHotkey. Let me share my screen. Actually, let me do my DPI. Okay, now we just bumped it up. I know that didn't look much because my background's just a picture. And now the prompt assistant will look much bigger. Yeah. And let me launch my webcam reminder because sometimes I forget the webcam's here. So this just goes up here. Make it disappear, but then I see it, so it reminds me that's where my webcam is. Now, let's launch the recently modified AutoHotkey files. And again, this reminds me, like, I could move that down a bit so you can see it. Takes up most of the screen. It's searching right now. 172 files. Wow, so a lot of just minor updates, I think, but the guys have been very busy doing client work. That's what all this first part is. Irfan's been mainly working straight away for a client. Almost all of his time is taken up nowadays doing that. He's doing a great job. Lots of different stuff. I'm not going to go into what he's doing there. Really just automating a program and nailing it down. And they have different language versions of it and different things they're automating. And unfortunately, that tool is a complicated tool, and it's not easy to automate. But anyway, so he's got a lot of different scripts I've been working on. Boy, that took up a lot of the work there. Yeah, and then Jeff is our client. We were thinking through different strategies of how to do his email drip campaigns and categorize based on. I forget the terminology Isaias and Jeff decided on, but on, like, it's not job title and role, but it's similar to that. And so they look at the person's, their level, like their seniority, sort of, and their job, their category of the industry they work in, and then customize the message and the drip campaign that goes to them. So they were working a lot on that. This AI interpreter, I think I demoed that last week. We actually changed it, so now, and I gotta tell Isaias, there's this little error that pops up. We haven't shared this, by the way, and I don't know if we will, because it's a pretty complicated script. I cloned another client's voice, AJ. I don't want to use his voice, but let's use mine, which of course defeats part of the purpose. But let's have me, well, no, the whole point is, this one is the clone voice. And let's have me talk Spanish. Now, I forget my hotkey. I think it's the insert key. Oh, and why is my microphone not selected? That's interesting. Oh, insert key. Yeah, okay. Let's say that. So what I do is I hold down the insert key and I say something. Please bring me another beer and show me where the bathrooms are. Y tomar su cerveza y mostrarme dónde están los baños. So it listens to what I say. It first transcribes it, sends off the voice, transcribes it, then it translates it, and then it uses my cloned voice to speak it in the other language, which is pretty darn cool. So now what we changed was, before we only had a couple languages, but there's a lot of different languages that they have available. A lot of these I wouldn't even be able to guess. Let's do Italian. I know I would say shut up and eat is taze y mangia, at least that's one way to say it. Let me see how it does. Shut up and eat. Stai zitto e mangia. I'm not sure what that was. My great-grandmother was full-blood Italian, and so was my grandmother, and I lived with them for a while, and my grandmother would tell my great-grandmother to shut up and eat because she was a little loco. Anyway, very cool tool. It's for, during a webinar, our client can be there, and her clients are sometimes French, and they may not understand what she said in English, so she can hold this, say it, and then it speaks it in her voice, right, in French. That's pretty cool. Or I can, oops, let me pick, these are the different speakers they have. I'm not sure what they sound like. And we'll just go with English so we can understand it. This is Daniel. How does Daniel sound?
This is Daniel. How does Daniel sound?
It's quite nice, actually. Okay, so you get the idea. That's pretty cool. That one, it uses several different APIs, so that's why I'm saying, like, we might sell that tool, but it'll be like a setup cost because it's a bit, you have to get your tokens and stuff, and we just find a lot of people just don't know how to do those things, and then they keep writing us back for support. And when you're selling something for $9, you know, we can't be like spending hours on email. So AI interpreter, yeah, these are all that. It's interesting. I don't know what these are. Hyperlinks. Oh, it's just our Notify examples. He brought over the whole Notify class. That's all. Yeah, that's fine. AI OCR. This tool again. This tool is so amazing. Let me launch it, and then I think it's usually it tells you Control Shift Left. So if you do OCR and you have a table, this tool. This is one of the best things about it. Right? Is if you do it on a table. Besides, there's both a dark and a light version of it. But it does OCR and will bring it back. If it's a table, it detects it's a table and brings it back into a table. So it's because that's not easy to do. And then you can right click, I think in here, and say copy column A, and then we get a notification down here, copied file name. Oh, I don't think I hit copy. Copy selected, copy column A. Here we go. So that grabs everything from column A or column B. So that brings them all. If there's more than one notification, it stacks them so they don't overwrite each other. I can actually come in here and say, oh, this should have been part of this. I can edit it, and I can delete the tab. Let's see, I'm going to delete that tab. And go back to the list view, and now that one will have shifted over, which I'm not seeing it. Maybe they changed that? Let me try that again on the first row. Examples, hyperlink 1 kilobyte. Let me do it with a guy. Oh, I'm not on the first row. Duh. Sorry. There we go. Here we go. So now when we do this, and actually that's like a link row there. Now see the 1 kilobyte moved over? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We can have it read out loud. So let's say, let's do something else. Let's get this text. That's a lot of text. But it's going to grab that. Now that's not a table. Oh, it's still trying. So we would look at that one here, which looks horrible. Uh-oh. That's interesting. I'm going to have to tell it. So it still thought that was a table? That doesn't make any sense. Apparently, Isaiah did it. So he changed the detection. Oh, there we go. That time it worked right. And I can hit read out loud. Oh, really? I have to come in here and... Why is that still...
Want a clear path for learning AutoHotkey? Take a look at our AutoHotkey courses here, the-automator.com/discover. They're structured in a way to make learning AHK easy and come with a 200% money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk.
Wow. So that I was in the wrong view. That's why I was in a table view. So let's do this, read out loud. So it's using
a clear path for learning AutoHotkey.
Oh, that's
Take
interesting.
a look at our AutoHotkey courses here. The-automator.com/discover.
I think I can.
They're structured.
I can hit escape to stop it. It should have used the selection. So that's interesting. That's a bug. It should be if you select something. It should just use that, but I think it's taken the whole thing. So we'll have to look at that. I know.
Want a clear path for learning AutoHotkey?
Yes, I do. It's not meant to be an infomercial, but you get the idea, right? And if we go to preferences, you'll see you can choose the different speakers. So we have different speakers. This is using OpenAI for talking. Let's see. I'm curious. I don't think we still. Yeah, it's filtered right now. I think, but the O3 model from OpenAI should be released by. I know it released yesterday, but I didn't have access to it. This is the coding, the prompt we give it, and of course you can change it, and you can change your prompt to actually have different prompts depending on what you're doing. Pretty robust tool, and we have a way to just have it always speak or have it just copy the clipboard, remove personal information. You can choose your hotkey, and we can have the results translated into a different language if you want it. So it's very cool. It's one of my favorite tools now, and it works. The OCR is just amazing with AI. Talk to AI, so that we're just having a conversation with AI. We can talk, and it will take it and push it into the AI tool. transcribe and summarize. This one is the one I run on all of our videos and stuff. It's what I use for the bullets for the videos in YouTube. So that's what, when you read the description, that's where I use this tool to get that. And the translate and subtitle, this one had a little bug, and Isaiah fixed it yesterday because our client, where we did a webinar for on Saturday, she also has people, as I mentioned, they're watching in French and in Spanish. And so what we do is we take a video. Let me just launch it. We can take a video, we put a video here, and then we choose the spoken language. We chose the languages. I filtered this. There's a much bigger list, but really it's usually these, so I'm just only showing a couple because this is just for a couple clients. And we can choose to either burn them into the video or embed them as an SRT file, but usually we just burn them into the video, and then it puts it looks at what was said in English and it translates it into whatever language you pick, and it burns it into the screen. So you now have a video with basically burned in subtitles, which is what this is telling me here, right? So it's very cool. It's also very inexpensive overall because we're just using the OpenAI's API for getting that, and then we use FFmpeg to burn them in. Very, very cool tool. So Isaiah did some updates on that one. Got it back to work. Boy, he did apparently a lot of changes, or maybe he brought a new library over or something to update it. Always on top. I mentioned to Irfan or Rizwan, this tool, it's a great little tool. Let me bring over the preferences. This should stick. So if I say update title, when I hit save, it does work. So Windows W is the hotkey. So if I come in here and I hit Windows W, it will change this to say always on top, and I can hit it again and it turns it off. But when I relaunch that tool, it's not that checkbox isn't sticking. But what's really cool is if I use like Notepad, bring Notepad over here, and I hit Windows W on it, it'll make this always on top. So even if I activate this one, this stays on top. And then I can hit select it again and turn it off. And I like having that note to say what it is. So now when I select a different window, it doesn't. So that's a cool little tool. The file compare, we just have an example using the simple bar charts to show the comparison of file size, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I run that. I think it's just a library, so I don't think that's going to run. Oh, I'm sorry. So apparently it does have, let me hit F1. Failed to get past. So what you do is you have a file open. Bring over. So here's one, I hit F1. And then I think I hit another one and hit F1. Yeah, and it compares the file sizes using this. It's really just meant as an example of how to use to give you an example of how to display the file size comparison using, these are actually status bars, but we set one to be 100, and then we set the other one, and then we mention how much this is 42% of that one, or this one is 136% bigger than that one. So it gives you all the stats you'd want. You can also change, how do I get rid of that? Good, escape. You can change what parameters are being shown. It's a cool little library. But yeah, it's just an example of how to use a library is the real point of that script. I just forgot. I don't think, it does need a hotkey because you need to be able to select which files you want. But we should have a tooltip at the beginning when that starts to say, hey, go select one, hit F1, select a file, hit F1, select another file, hit F1, right? We should have a notification at the very beginning to mention that. So yeah, Rizwan will add that to the example. I'm trying to find my example of it to kill it. No, it'll disappear. I don't use F1 a lot. I hate that as a hotkey. I don't know why the guys use that so much. I personally hate that as a hotkey, but whatever. I don't care for them. I'm just saying I would never pick it. Auto crop. So in Zoom, if you use Zoom a lot and you have two people speaking, it automatically puts you like side by side. And I recorded a bunch of videos with our client Stephanie for that webinar, and she was the only person in the webinar, even though my webcam is on because she needs to see me to tell her to go ahead and record and whatnot. But I needed to extract her, and usually I use DaVinci Resolve to go do that and to crop it, and it takes a while. So I used FFmpeg to write a couple tools to automatically crop out the different spots of the video and just burn a new video with just her instead of both of us. So it saves me a lot of time in editing. And I had another one to remove the audio because in the screen recording, I don't want the audio file because Zoom gives you different video files that both have audio, and you don't want multiple audio files in your recording, or at least I don't. So one tool removes the audio very quickly. The other one automatically either gets the left or the right, depending on a little parameter I change, and then records a new video, and then it makes it very easy for me to embed, kind of like this will look. It's up in the top right. In Zoom, it's very small, but this allows me to have two different sizes, and I can control the size of where the webcam is. So a lot of flexibility. So anyway, Flexifinder, this was very interesting in the hero call yesterday. Zayas, and the day before, Friday, we worked on this, and we converted it, instead of using an INI file, to use a JSON string for storing the data. And now, let me see if, I forget, do I hold down Alt and click? Well, to open the folder, but that'll work. Let me edit it. And I think what we're going to do is make a video talking through the changes that Isaias did. He greatly reduced the amount of code and streamlined it to where it's really, the logic is much easier to follow. But instead of using an INI file, because we have an equal sign in our code, he just changed it to be simpler. So anyway, we'll make a video, I think, with Isaias talking through the changes and how to better handle this when you have a goal in mind, and to write some clear code. Because I think this was developed over time, and that they weren't quite sure of what we were doing at the beginning, and it just became a kind of spaghetti code. So we fixed it drastically anyway. Detect second keyboard. This one in V2 now, so I don't have my other keyboard out, otherwise I would demonstrate it. But I can run it, and you'll see here if I type, it shows up on the left. But with my second keyboard, which, is that keyboard in? No. I can plug in this little tiny one. Oh, I can't. I have to relaunch the script. Never mind. I won't worry about it. If I type in a second keyboard, it will type over here. And so this script detects which keyboard you're using, the primary or the secondary keyboard. And so AJ, that client I mentioned earlier, he wanted a way to have a 10 key as your second keyboard and have it, when you hit like numpad 1 on that, have it do something, but not lose your numpad 1 from your keyboard. And so I was talking to Zayas about using how this script is separating the two, using that approach to be able to isolate that second keyboard and very easily write a hotkey that the users, you guy, anybody can go and say, oh, I want to have a hotkey for that second keyboard on this key. So we're going to use this to write this. It'll basically say, oh, which one do you want? I want this one. Maybe I would double click it and it would write the syntax for triggering it on the second keyboard, if that makes sense, for using that as a trigger to then go launch or do something, right? So very cool thing. I did get this converted to V2, which we'll have to update. I think we have the V1 version shared online, so we'll have to make the V2 version shared. I had Claude converted. It took a little bit of time, but Claude did convert it properly. And it's an advanced script. And Isaias, we also, in the hero, actually, I don't remember if we dove into that, but in the hero call, we were talking about those numputs and stuff, and that Isaias was explaining in the V2 beta, so not just V2, but there's a beta version of V2, V2.1, I think. I don't know why that keeps dropping like that. This whole numget and raw, he's like, this all goes away. They're basically gonna write a wrapper for it and make it much easier to do. So this code will be much simpler in the 2.1 when that's the released version. We'll switch over to that and we'll rewrite this code to make it even simpler. But yeah, very cool. Irfan, I don't know what Irfan was doing there or there. Here's some 11 lab. This is the one I think I demoed. I can go ahead and let me edit it and show you. This is with, and I can choose the voice. Of course, it's on the other screen. Here we go. So let me get down into here. Where's my browser? Back. So staff, let's change this one to Joe. Good morning. This was another client I was just, well, good morning. Does it sound like Joe? I think it does. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to relaunch it. I'm going to hit my hotkey. It's going to send it off to 11 Labs. And then you're going to hear through my speakers. So the quality is actually better than what you guys hear because I'm right now using OBS, and I have to mute my system sound. I could change it, so you listen to the system sound instead of me. So let me do that. I'm going to mute my mic, and then you'll listen to it directly. Good morning. Does this sound like Joe? I think it does. Okay, so I muted my mic and then turned on the system mic to hear that. So hopefully that came through properly. I'm going to do it again just in case. Good morning. Does this sound like Joe? I think it does. Now, if you also listen, the two were slightly different from each other, right? And that's the very interesting part about using AI. It's not a sappy... The sappy is the built-in sound speaking system that Windows, back to Windows, at least 7 has. Maybe even XP had it, where you can give it text and it would speak it for you mechanically, but it would do it. This, I've cloned my voice, it sends it off, but it also slightly changes it each time, and it's really fascinating how AI text-to-voice works. But yeah, you get the idea. If you clone your voice, or I can pick one of the built-in voices, but here are our clients' voices. I had, for AJ, I had it speak to his wife's name is Cheryl, so I had it say this for his wife, and she could tell it apart, but he said it took a second. It's very cool. So yeah, anyway, very cool. Again, with 11 Labs, you have to go in and clone your... Actually, though, Isaias did mention that they do have an API for cloning your voice. It's also... They're not cheap. 11 Labs isn't cheap compared to the other stuff for text-to-voice. However, their cloning is just insanely good, right? So that's why we went with that one, because we really wanted it to sound... With Stephanie, she had a lot of videos, and we were using Zoom, and every once in a while, the audio would trail out, and it would sound muffled. Or not clear. So instead of her having to join back and fix those parts, I just cloned her voice, and I would type in what she said, and I would swap it out in the video. I would just edit it out and put in the new her saying it, and it was just crazy how good it was. So yeah, very, very cool. Close that, right? Oh boy, Rizwan was struggling understanding what I was trying to do with this, so we'll save this for another time. It's close to being done, but I'd rather have it working before I show you. This project invoice calculator. Isaias fixed the this tool. This is where we can pick our client. Oh look, hey, I charged myself. I didn't know that. I can use, because I use this as an example. So now I can say there was 3 hours of work, and it knows if I'm a hero member or not. And when I hit calculate, it will write the email. I know my Outlook, it is open, so it'll take a second. Well, apparently it wasn't open. But it'll start my Outlook, write my email, and then show you. Now here, this time, we have the full price of I forget what our hourly rate is. Actually, I can also just come in here and paste, because I like showing them this as well, right? That's that screenshot from there. And if we go up, so the $71.99, that's the 3 hours, that's what that total is, this normal price. And then we say, because I'm a hero member, you saved $54 this, for this 2 weeks, which is, way over what the hero membership costs. And then we give Malik. Now, the other one I'm going to work on is Stripe has the ability to do invoicing. And so what happened was one of our clients had missed a payment, which is, it happens. I understand that. And, but I happened to notice that it missed, and I had to go remind them. But with Stripe, what I can do is use their API, and I'm going to put in an invoice tagging him with his email address and the price, and it'll send him an email to remind him to pay it. And if he doesn't pay it, it will automatically remind him to pay it. So at some point, I'm going to switch over to that, because then that's less mental work. I have to go and check and see that, confirm if people paid or not. So very cool. Just a custom little tool that we built to save me a ton of time. This tool is amazing. Prompt assistant. Isaias, let me see if, I haven't relaunched it. Let me relaunch it and see if the actual changes are in there. So what I told Isaias was, hey, you know what? For Isaias, he's so good, he doesn't need it, right? So this is really just for me and for other prompt assistant users. Because you can run AutoHotkey code. Let's go with like the blur example. Yeah, so see how it says run v62? Oh, I don't think he's changed it yet. Yeah, I don't think he's compiled it yet. So anyway, what we did was if there's this text, it will put a button here to say either run or test. And this button will run, if this is AutoHotkey code, it will run it. So That's when we're adding it, because what you normally have to do is save it and then come back in and launch it, which was annoying. So by having a button here, it's a quick way to test it, because sometimes you need to have the folder as a, you pass it as a parameter to the run function. You need to pass the local folder for it to work properly. Sometimes you don't. I don't think even Isaiah knows when you do and don't, but this just makes it easier to test and make sure, because what if I have multiple run things, right? So this makes it really easy. Let me make sure. No, and let me delete this and add it. Add it back. No, so we don't. He hasn't updated. I'm running the compiled version. He just hasn't recompiled it. So I'm gonna hit cancel here. Prompt System's a great tool for using hotkeys and hot strings or the GUI to launch things or to do snippets. It was really built for snippets, but we decided, hey, if we could add it, make it pretty easy to add the ability to run AutoHotkey code without really making it more complicated. So anyway, that's what we're working on to add that functionality to it. Which, yep. Recently used modified files. I don't remember making a change in here, but apparently we did. I think Irfan was working on, he was just cleaning it up, and then he was going to change the icon, but I'm like, this script is all about AutoHotkey files. So I said, leave it with the AutoHotkey icon, because that's what it's about. So that makes sense to have it as that icon. We have one for changing your scroll bar width. So these widths, if you want to change those, we just have a script that changes your registry that makes it easy. This Windows 11, we need to make a video on it, but it'll change Windows 11 by default. When you search in your Windows search thing, it will search the internet, which I think is horrible. If I want to search the internet, I'll go to the internet. So this just is just a little hack that turns that off. Our res finder. This is the one that you can find icons by searching for text. Our simple checklist tool. This tool, I love this tool. It's very cool. I don't use it nearly enough. And apparently I don't show Windows. Okay, that's a wild hotkey. But as you mark things off, it crosses that out and puts a timestamp in it, and we can have different checklists, right? So it's very, I like this tool a lot. I love the crossing out, so you didn't disappear, right? I didn't delete it. Now I know I have a record that I did it and when I said I did it. And what we might at some point do is add a column to say like the username or something of maybe the computer username or the username, so it'd say Joe or something like that, right? Which would be cool, because then you know who did it. So when you're working in a team. Simple mouse highlighter. Here's the V2 version, which that just puts a color around your mouse and lets you easily change it. Our password encoder. This one it's such a great idea. If you don't want to have your password stored in plain text, it encodes it. It doesn't encrypt it, but it encodes it where it makes it where it's obfuscates it. We have a video on that, so check the link here if you want to watch that video. It's very cool. Our Simple Spy tool, great way if you're learning how to work with Win32 controls. It's a great simple way, because the terminology is a bit complicated, and this tool just makes it easier to not have to know so much. You can use this tool to dim your screen. It doesn't save you power, but it does just decrease the brightness, so that's a great, easy way for that. This one will remove the close button in the top right corner from most of your windows. Our Task Manager 2, Isaiah is going to update this. It's close, but it was missing some icons, and so we're going to fix that to where it's working properly with your... Let me go ahead and launch it. And it's much snappier than the other version was. Whoa, hey, apparently... Yeah, I can resize it. I don't remember that being in the original one. But when you right-click, this should have icons in here, and that's what Rizwan notices, that the icons... In the V1 version, we have the icons, and this one we don't. I'll get Isaiah or Irfan to update that so that the icons are showing up. And also, I think the end process wasn't quite working, but now you can also filter. So if I want to look at all my AutoHotkey scripts, so yeah, you can say I have a couple running, right? Like, yeah, I should do a video on this sometime of showing what I have running, because yeah. Oh, hey, and let me see if I can kill my, like this one, end process. I don't think it actually is going to work. Well, I don't see it. You can also filter on the... Yeah, so I don't have that one anymore. You can filter on all parts of the path. Which the other task manager, you can't do that. At least I don't think you can. So yeah, you get an idea. I have a couple scripts running. Some have GUIs. that's the handle to the GUI. This is the one, the other tool we're working on, our webcam reminder, task manager. This tool itself. That's funny. I wonder if I kill it, if it'll kill itself. That'd be hilarious. Oh, it did. Yeah, okay. So yeah, cool little tool. And I'm glad it's snappy now, which is great. Automated resource finder. This tool just helps you find our downloads and videos, and it also searches through documentation. It's a great little tool. This ultimate discovery tool, or discovery tool, helps you understand the approaches you might be able to use. So I have a great video on this talking through like what it does. It also will flag if that window is an admin, which is one of the first things that you can really trip you up. So this tool is very low cost. Our ultimate spy, that's one we charge a lot more for, because we give you a lot of different approaches for doing stuff. It's much more. It actually has the inspection tools in them. Here's a couple more of the encode and decode URLs that Rizwan was working on. So all right, well that's it. If you want to learn more about AutoHotkey, we have great courses. They come with a 200% money back guarantee, and it's a great way to free up time and to it really is a multiplier, right? So the more you automate, the more time you have to automate more things or to do other stuff, more important things. And we also, of course, have done for you stuff. So if you don't really want to learn how to do it, we can do it for you. You can check out my calendar link if you want to book a calendar meeting. Or we also do tutoring. So if you're trying to learn specific things, we can jump on a call and walk you through stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Hope you're well. Cheers.